is already live. There you go. Gwen, Rumble, and Pentin and Cyan already removed. They know they need to take away that strength.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the OPs that's still up and left available that could be traded. Stuff like Varus, Vi are still up. I know you hate Vi, Trouble.
Nah, I think when Gragas is open, you gotta take it for the set of LR.
What did he say? Free win? My only concern is that Gragas is open and Yorick is open on the other side.
Ooh.
He said free win in their previous game and they lost. I was gonna say. Oh, that was permabanned. In their previous series, the Syndra was permabanned the entire time, and it's finally open. And this is great, again, because Velia plays aggro champions. Of course, Sinzao, Pantheon, and Afiri are all out of the table. So I'm wondering what Velia will most likely pivot to.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some staple drafts like Vi, Azir, Varus, I think is a great trio that you could go for in first through rotation. I also think with Syndra, for the side of Lost Ratones, you could pair off with Viego, Wukong, I believe. From hearing the comms, they really value these champions as well, so they could pick off early jungle as a blind.
I really like things like the Trundle here as well. I think it pairs up really nicely with the Syndra. You block one side with the Scatter of the Wake, you block the other with the Pillar, and especially when there's like immobile 80 carries down bot lane, you can very easily take early flashes with just a Pillar.
Yeah, so there's the Azir Varus. If you go Vi now, it's a really nice core where you have Azir for DPS, Vi for very strong laners for, Varus for very strong laners for Vi, so they can get through a first clear. It's a great solid core.
I will not stand for this propaganda.
You like something with the setup of a stun. Maybe with the Syndra, if you get the Vi, there's a way to set up a few ganks.
And I do think that you have to consider maybe taking it away here. If you're LR, if you do play that Vi, and taking it away, it could be very important. Although, if they do take it, then maybe you have something like a Poppy on the other side. There's a lot of mind games that come in these drafts with the power picks that you do trade off, and if you have answers into them.
This is looking like an LR, like the Syndra, the Jhin. Brownie always goes for the Jhin on the first opportunity that he has, especially versus the Varus. It matches the range.
Brownie had something like a 30-something KDA at the beginning of the NLC.
37, if I'm not mistaken.
37. It was absolutely incredible. One of his best champions by far. Here's the Syndra on the other side, though. Aragon, from when you were expecting it. I think it pairs up much nicer, to be fair, with the Syndra right here, and they need to play more aggressive on that mid jungle.
Yeah, okay. I was looking at champions and mobile control mages in the Syndra. I was looking at Jarvan potentially, but it looks like maybe they'll take Viego. I think a benefit of taking Viego is that it can't be played later, right? So that's also a denial for Velia later on in the series. But Jarvan also could have had value. Looks like they're going to lock it away. And then we're getting a bit of a front-to-back Viego, which I'm not always the biggest fan of. But still, a very solid takeaway at the start.
Now, I feel like we're looking towards the top side of the map, and we have Gragas and Galio were my two biggest concerns from the side of BKR right here, because Galio supports a dive-like champion like Vi really, really well. You actually will always have support in the backline, and also Gragas is so disruptive for a mobile AD carry such as the Varus. So one of them has been taken care of right here. Yeah. The third one that I want to mention right here is Braum, who is not a great pair to Jhin whatsoever, but it has been really heavily prioritized in general by the side of Los Ratones. Not to the greatest extent in terms of success, but they do really favor that champion, and his level 1 invades are incredible.
That's what I'm following you with you. You have the Vi to engage, but who else is going to follow that one? Boss is a little bit squishy most of the times. You lose the Gragas. What can you follow like with the Jax? Because if you don't pair something with the Vi is going to be alone on the front line on the engage.
Yeah, I'm looking with Renekton ban and so on. This sets up champions like Ambessa as well. But I'm also looking at the Rakan ban for the blind pick potentially on 4 here. When you ban Rakan, you're typically fishing for champions like Braum. Braum really doesn't like this. And versus the dive of Lost Ratones, that could be great as well. Typically, you also see Alistar, but they're just going to go for the Leona. They want more engage, and it's a great pairing with Varus.
We gotta find an answer now, LR. You have to present something, maybe for the top line, or maybe what the support can bring. We've seen a little bit more engage-ish coming in from Reckless with the Nico or the Alistar. That's the pair they really like to get, like the Jhin and the Alistar.
I wish it was the Nico, actually. Yeah. But I think Alistar makes a lot of sense right here. Something like Rel, Alistar, anything that can actually cause more disruption and create engages together with the Vi right here. And I feel like a lot of the blind picks from the set of Baus have been things like the Cho'Gath or even the Galio right here. Again, Galio suits that composition also so well. But Sigenda is a guy that plays a lot of aggro champions, things like the Camille, things like the Ambessa that really like going toe-to-toe with things like Galio.
Yeah. And then the question is, if they do lock in the Galio, like you're saying, what answer does Sigenda have into that? I think Gnar, like he's been playing a lot of Gnar in this tournament.
Top.
It's Vi top. Of
we
course.
Forgot.
How do we not mention the Vi
got
flag?
so debated.
Whoa! Oh my God, I love this. It's giving me Kanavi vibes. I absolutely love this. We talked about disruption in the backline. Kha'Zix is one of those champions that thrives in chaos. The second you split a team fight apart, Kha'Zix really does find the mark in the backline.
And I think the best part about the Kha'Zix angle here is that Kha'Zix is really good 1v1 into the Viego. You pretty much win at every single level in terms of the 1v1. It's an old school counter pick that I've heard Broxah talk about a lot in the past. So it's a nice angle to go for. I'm a big fan of it if you have good 1v1 in the jungle.
It's locked in. Shigena is going to be playing with that Camille on the top side. It locks in someone. You won't be able to run away. I think all those targets coming in from LR already don't have the best mobility, like the Syndra and the Jhin. And if you're locked in, well,
I'm
survive.
actually kind of scared for Nemesis right here. He's going to be a sitting duck into a Camille, Viego, Azir, Shove. There's a Leona with ultimate right there. The second Nemesis loses his flash and walks into objectives, he definitely becomes a target.
Yeah. And they're kind of squishy as well. So Viego is going to have a fun time if he gets some sort of lead in a jungle. So it goes up to Velia to stop that. This Kha'Zix has to hunt as much as possible. Just to give the information, it is locked in. We already have the teams locked in, but we're going to take a little bit of time because the teams need to get ready. The draft is going to be redone, but these are the champions that are going to be played.
I can do that. I'll talk to you this time because, as Trouble said, yeah, I mean, the drafts are fun. And I feel like with a lot of Lost Ratones games, the drafts are mega fun. Whoever the cameraman is,
whoa!
This is the sickest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, we're gliding.
Hang on. Pause. Yeah, wait. Come from the LEC. Okay, no, we're not pausing, don't worry. But that, you got something to learn from that. That was epic. Now, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to what we hope is going to be a long best of 5. You know what was funny? As you joined my side.
Hello.
I saw this Kha'Zix and I was like, is it really going to be Balth Vi top? Because, you know, Finn from Rogue has been playing a lot of Kha'Zix top.
A lot of Kha'Zix top.
I don't know if it's been going around solo queue. Is it high elo at the moment or what?
No. I mean, what he did cook up recently was Lulu top instead of the Kha'Zix top. I think he gave up on the Kha'Zix pretty quickly because it is, in fact, terrible. But the Lulu top was good.
Because I saw that and I was like, yeah, okay. He has started cloth armor here with refillable. I know on desk you guys were talking about the potential build. I was just looking at his DPM lol and I was looking at the couple of games that he's actually played today. He's still full lethality. Youmu's or Umbral into like a collector build, into like a Last Whisper, depending on the team. And I feel like in this game, when you guys were also talking a lot about the tempo of the game and how fast it's going to have to be with some of these picks, maybe that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that people underrate with Vi in general is how well she scales. I think Vi scales phenomenally well in the 1v1, which is something that people don't talk about very often. If you just have her 1v1 a Camille for the majority of the game, she will just win, right? The biggest scare, like I kept saying on the desk, was Camille has a lot of gank setups, so if you're ever in a 1v2 situation, that's where things could get dicey for Baus. But yeah, in terms of the 1v1 raw side laning, it's going to be favored to Vi for a very long time, if not for the entire game.
Plus, I like the Halo Blades as well, that we've seen multiple times when he pulled out the build. You get instant W armor shred, right? And especially since you're maxing that second these days, it feels nice as a level 2 bot first.
Yeah, just a level 2 down in bot side, but significantly top lane with the Vi. The way this works, I just noticed, Vi dashed in on the mini-map versus, I believe what happened was Camille W'd, and when you have a gap closer, you want to dash into that W to not be hit by the outer blade.
I love, again, you're back on the cast again with me. 2 top laners here. The cameraman's like, yeah, mid and bot look interesting. Look at these Nemesis trades. And Aragon's like, look at the mini-map. There it is again.
Right, so he dashes into...
Finally, we're in the right lane.
The W of Camille to make sure that he doesn't get hit by the outer blade, which does more damage and heals the Camille. And that way you win the trade. You can see he's actually coming out on top in the trades. Wave is pushing into Baus from Shigenda, but Baus should be able to contest this wave crash. It's going to be pretty comfy for him.
So again, let me pull out from you. Pulling out the passive from Shigenda is important, right? Like getting that precision protocol, or adaptive defenses, I think it's called, because the Q is PP. And pulling that out, and then I did that unintentionally. And then being able to get your burst trade in.
Yeah.
So.
You can see Camille also just hookshot at the wall as we see some trades in mid. Nemesis' condition is pretty bad. He might have to TP back to lane soon, although he does have a good amount of potions.
Oh.
Dash in there. I wonder if he dashed in, but Shigenda, he had no hookshot for a little while. It's probably going to be up in a couple seconds. This gank could work out.
Let's find out. Velia on the way, obviously vision there. The gank works out. Hookshot max range, but you get a bit of pressure here, and you were just talking about the wave. Look at where it stopped.
Yeah, and he's holding it, right? So this was really big. The way that Baus played the lane was he played the trades really correctly. I'm sure Shigenda isn't used to having a Vi dash into the W and then getting the wave frozen on him. So after the full clear from the Kha'Zix ends up top lane, Velia looks for a gank, and unfortunately it doesn't work out on top lane, but it's really nice.
I'm sure Shigenda's not even used to a Vi top, you know, in that regard. So, yeah, as you said, top lane going really well. Again, the cloth armor is going to help with that. Cole picked up on the return for Shigenda as well, as he's now teleported back trying to get that wave in a status. We talked a little bit about Nemesis before. Naturally, in this 1v1 Aragon, I mean, we know that Syndra pre-6 has a bit of range here. Amon was doing pretty good in the training, but Nemesis is a bit ahead in CS.
Yeah, Nemesis is a little bit ahead in CS. I mean,
as usual.
New? Yeah, what's new? Syndra generally does win this matchup a little bit. Like she does outrange Bizir, but like it's post 6 that you know, the shuffle threat comes in, and Nemesis to play a little bit more careful. But it looks like you're just gonna get a recall, some mana items, and you're gonna reset your condition in lane, and be pretty happy if you're both mid laners here.
I feel like, again, with this being the opener of this series here in semifinals, Trouble said it really well. It's opened things up for a really interesting draft, you know, coming in game 2, game 3 as well. Already a lot taken out. And there was one thing I didn't get to ask you coming from desk as Nemesis is walking down.
Yep.
Not sure if now's the time as Dragon's about to spawn. What do you want to go?
Yeah, I just want to point out we're getting an early swap already. So what this is telling me is that BKR, they've decided that they want to mismatch their lanes.
Yeah.
And that Baus is going to struggle in the 1v2 more than the Camille.
He does this so much, doesn't he? I'll let you open up the floor after this because Baus might be dead for a first blood. Good sidestep though, but Baus is now down without any summoners as the wave state slowly moving into Bushi.
Yeah, so BKR, they can hold the freeze here and deny Baus a bunch of CS and gold, CS and XP rather. So the question is, do LR swap back? Do they send their ball lane up topside to make sure that Baus can keep getting resources?
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, the Camille likes being lane swapped on more than Baus here, right? I think Camille has a lot more counterplay under tower and tower dives.
True.
And you can see he doesn't have anywhere to go, and now he's getting flashed in the jungle.
He's got no summoners. This time DOS won't miss, but the Vault Breaker is not blocked. Now the flash matched out and still a root down. First blood's going to go over to Ricklick, and excuse me, it's an easy first blood in the end.
Yeah, Baus is looking for a play to make and walking into his own jungle because he's frozen on up top side. Ends up getting collapsed on BKR, and Reckless is here.
He is. He's going to get a double pulverize up. Velia hovers over the wall, waiting patiently ever so. The isolated damage because Viego is by himself. Now helped out by DOS, but away, Reckless separates jungle from support, and Velia gets to isolate again.
The pickaxe damage there and the isolation was absolutely crazy. And now following this play, you can see the matching of the lanes again, because LR have decided, yeah, we can't have Baus in this kind of mismatched lane state. And you can see Baus actually receives the entire wave down in bot side. He's very happy as well. LR bailed out a bad situation.
It is a kill for a kill. Rylek opened up with first blood. Now Velia gets one in response, and I'm glad you pulled out the pickaxe because it means, again, as that red buff comes up, that isolated camp, Velia's going to be clearing that mega quick. Level 6 expected as well with the EXP bar on your screen. Look at this replay because Baus did draw a flash out of this jungler.
Yeah, and it looks like he's not really sure where to go at this point. He's being frozen on the top side, so he's just trying to run around, be a human ward in some kind of way. Flashes out, and there's a flash to match for Rylek, which is why he dies later on. In the 1v1 versus the isolated damage.
I've been practicing my German today, so I apologize to the French fans saying Ricklick. I don't even know what that means, but Rylek. You know when you practice things a lot and you just get it wrong anyway?
Yeah.
It's just me. Maybe it's just my brain.
And don't worry, we're all like that, mate.
Good pulverize again. Deadly Flourish doesn't connect. Bushi chains of corruption onto Reckless, who doesn't have his ulti. Could be in trouble. This cow is flashed away from the hail of arrows. DOS gets a follow-up. Crowny steps up, but it's a flash match. Bushi gets a kill. Now Crowny has to get out the same way that Reckless wanted to. He's going to cleanse, and immediately he runs for his life. DOS just going to be the afterthought as an auto and Q, but in the end, BKR, they're 2v2 on the board.
Yeah, Varus level 6 so strong, so much damage and burst in that combo. Down levels, Crowny wasn't quite level 6, neither was Reckless, and Reckless just gets popped in the 2 versus 2. And it felt like, I believe Crowny actually missed W, the Deadly Flourish doesn't connect, so there wasn't chain CC, but I don't even think that matters. I think Varus post 6 here just wins versus everyone. And damn, look at ball lane. Look at that matchup. Zienda's really taking it. He's struggling.
I'm just getting correction. I remember that Rylek is Turkish. But French team, guys. French team.
Oh,
okay?
my goodness.
You know what I'm trying to say. I don't want to be in deep water. It's day one. How do I always do this? Deep water, day one. You know, just got here and already the job's on hold. Now, we look towards a camp that is not isolated. I like talking about isolation because we don't talk about Kha'Zix too much. As Velia's just going to start this off. Immediately, one grub gone.
Yep.
This movement error gone pretty quick.
I mean, it's a question, how many grubs do they want to play for here? I think they could play for a few. Varus has no ulti, so they're not exactly strong on the side of BKR. I think if you get both, if you get 2 of them, you're kind of happy because you get the feat of warfare.
Yep.
Or at least a point towards it. And as long as you get the majority, right?
True. I think also denying it from Camille and side lanes later on might be nice. Giving it over to Vibe. Vibe's a pretty good turret pusher. One thing people don't talk about a lot is that E auto attack reset for any top lane feels nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think Grubs is useful for both teams here. There are no globals on either side, so neither side lane is disincentivized to hit the tower. and both can use grubs pretty well. You have Azir, you have Camille and Vi in the side lane. So both teams happy to pick up 2 or 1 here.
You remember when Azir could press his turret W on the turret?
That was weird.
And get turret
That
damage
was
done?
really weird.
That'd be pretty good in this meta. Imagine if grub scaled with it as well. I forgot that existed as Omon. Jumping into Nemesis, but the trade is still good for Nemesis. Soldiers are just auto-attacking out as his lethal tempo in full swing. Nemesis, his trades are still going really well. Look at that CS lead. 13, 14, about 15 getting close to.
Yeah, Nemesis getting better with the trades here. Almost a 20 CS lead. 15 rather. But again, around the mid lane is really, really important. Omon, after these trades, could look for a kind of shuffle to pop the flash, but then he would be a sitting duck, which is spooky. So it looks like nothing's going to happen. It's kind of disapparate in the mid lane.
It does make sense again. Following around mid, this is what we talked about. Omon gets a lot of attention, or rather, Omon is the attention. As this guy is always involved in some of the action, but so far it's quite a rare case. He's quiet because both this jungle and bottom lane have been the ones pulling it out. Now, it is important to note, Bushi is going for lethality build here.
Yep.
There's already 3 AD on the team, so adding a bit of range feels like a good response.
And I think it's completely fine because you have a lot of sources of DPS elsewhere. If you want to threaten a neutral objective like the Nash, you have Azir DPS, so it's completely fine.
Plus Viego shreds through with max health or percentage health, whatever it is.
Yeah, so it's not the end of the world, and I think because you outrange, because you can threaten, you can play outside of Vi's engage range as well as the lethality Varus, and that's what makes it so strong in this game. Outranging the Syndra's pretty good too.
Yeah, very, very true. We'll see how it affects the next fight because 10 seconds till Dragon. There might be one around it. LR have already opened up with their first Dragon, and they've got also an item advantage. Blackfire Torch picked up for Nemesis. Will take a bit of time for that to be more effective, but look at Velia. Opportunity already picked up for this Kha'Zix.
Yeah. Lethality. A lot of lethality since the buffs for melee. Like, I think they made it so you get +5 or something now. Ridiculous.
Like that,
it's a lot of lethality, so it sounds really good on someone like a Kha'Zix. This team fight, will they want to fight on one item? I think they've got to be a little bit scared of the Varus ulti at these early fights. Varus ulti is very scary.
Speaking of, cease and desist, there's a Vi ulti. Shigendo trying to buffer out. Baus is going to let him get out, or rather, Hextech ultimatum. Did you see an interaction?
That was nice. Shigenda ultis the channel of the Q from Vi to cancel it because Camille ulti cancels channels.
Yeah.
So Vi Q gets cancelled and Baus can't chain afterwards and successfully disengages. So it looks like that's how the interactions are going to be because Camille loses the 1v1.
But Baus now can move, has TP. So I will say, even though we saw an ult for ult, Baus has the ability to be here at Dragon first. If there is a swapping of the map as Shigenda waits for the wave top.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern is Baus's ability to impact this fight is much lower because he doesn't have ultimate. He's able to Q flash maybe, but that isn't going to be very useful. So my question is, what is Baus exactly doing here? Is he going to just recall and TP top?
Because then if he TP's top, I mean, Shigenda, maybe their health and mana, you'd have to question, like...
Yeah, I mean, Shigenda just gets a free reset.
Yeah. So yeah, TP's going to come through in the end. Good call is Baus, by the way, double longsword and tunneler. What do you think the build's going to be? What are we going for first?
I mean, it looks like the Sundered Sky build that, that Trouble was talking about.
Yeah,
it looks like he's going towards this more, despite what you saw in solo queue maybe.
I mean, yeah, it's all good for solo queue games today.
No Ghostblade today.
What a shame. Would have been fun to see, but doesn't quite have that, so he teleported only with an extra longsword. While Dragon's going to be started, you know the power and the thing I love about solo queue Kha'Zix or pro play Kha'Zix? Neutral objectives that are in singular, it's so satisfying watching it go down in like 15 seconds.
Yeah, I've been learning jungle and I played a Kha'Zix game and it was misery to clear early versus multicamps.
Oh yeah.
But doing a neutral objective with Evolved Q, you see why they always go Evolved Q.
But he's a massive feast or famine champ, right? That's the best thing about him is like, as we said for Lost Ratones, their game plan hinges around like not falling too far behind in the early game, playing a lot off of picks, like...
Yeah, I also think that...
Getting in a good spot.
Something that people underrate about Kha'Zix as a champion is his ability to create space. I think with all the invises, he always threatens the leap onto a carry, which can stop them hitting. I think that's always a really powerful thing in a front-to-back team fight if you're not playing for these picks at potentially 3rd or 4th Dragon, which is coming up in 4 minutes. It's already a 3rd Dragon Soul fight in 17. That's fast.
It is really fast. And again, Ocean Soul for this team as well. Feels really, really nice. I mean, I could say that about any Soul. It's probably not Chemtech. Baus, he jumped in. Is it a mistake, though? Shigenda waits patiently. Baus is going to ulti. He's caught out. Rylek is behind him. Hextech ultimatum trapped him. He flashes to the edge. Saved by Velia and Rylek committing fully. He'll get a reset, but Velia is waiting on top. A great scat of the week. An isolation. And behind Nemesis stands to cover his jungler.
Yeah, the management is 1 for 1. But there's a TP invested by Nemesis there. Baus buys a bunch of time with the flash away from the Viego ultimate. But look at mid lane because Nemesis TP's away. Omon gets the free hit on the tower, and that's a gold injection that he really wants right now.
A massive one as well. Nemesis already crawling up. I guess you can ask a question later about how jungle's going to affect this game, as Reckless was on the move. Bottom lane not really involved here as they looked up towards mid, but DOS just returns back to the bottom lane as well. 50 seconds till Herald. That's the next upcoming objective. And look at the replay here, Aragon, because Baus got lured in.
This looked a bit spooky with the W baiting out Baus's Q. He
got a ward as well, by the way, so he knew what he was going into.
And he has no Q to get out, but he does buy a bunch of time versus the Heartbreaker from Viego. The Tabais do a bunch of work for Baus as well to buy time versus Viego and Camille, but he has no way out here. Camille managed to get away, Shigenda managed to get away, but it is in the end 1-for-1.
So, what do you prefer here? Because I see a Kha'Zix with 2 kills and the next lethality item on the way. I see a 2-kill Viego already with Trinity Force and what looks to be like a Sterix Gage coming second.
You're asking who do I prefer in this instance?
Preferring with the lead, right? Because both are very snowbally junglers.
I mean, I look at also a Nash's Tooth completed for Azir, and that's a massive spike, right? So in the front to back as well, and the next Dragon. That's really the question. Who will be stronger at the next Dragon? Because both teams are going to have to contest it. I mean, alternatively, if you're LR, you could opt to cross-map up top side and just use the time to scale up with your Nemesis, get him to a bunch of stacks still, as he has that wink on as well, being super scaling as Syndra right now. It's really on them. Do they want to cross-map and contest the Dragon?
Yeah.
It's a difficult call, though.
Okay, well, give me the Herald call first, though, because I mean, that's the most important, right? Because we have a bit of balance between the Dragon in 2 minutes and the Herald sitting there and waiting. BKR have mid-pro. And now with the wave clear, thanks to Yomu's Ghostblade and a bit of extra on top with the tier stacking, Bushi's just getting instant wave clear.
Herald does matter here a lot, because if LR do secure this Herald, they could place it before the Dragon. Hold up.
In. Ultis. Nemesis up against the wall. He's waiting for the ult himself. He needs a couple more spheres down. Omen, will he regret this? Flash available. Nemesis with the solar kill. We wait. Scatter the weak out of range, though, as LR are bringing the long-range artillery. Crowny has an ulti up, but he chooses not to fire.
But look at top side. They've started up the Herald now, and it is a question of, will LR look to dive down bot side? I mean, it looks like Omen is gone, so there's going to be no cross-map play outside of taking tower. And this will matter for Feet if LR can secure it. It looks like DOS is trying to defend.
He's isolated. Scatter the weak flash, but he flashes towards the enemy. A minion taking the process because Omen has decided to teleport in. Solar Flare to buy time, but Omen has no ulti. We just watched him use it as now up against a dying turret. A curtain will call. Omen will fall, and a double over to Velia breaks them all.
But look at mid lane. They're matching the seat. They're cross-mapping with a Rift Herald versus the overload of Los Ratones down in bot side. So it is first blood turret. First brick turret for BKR.
And another one to bite the dust as well. It's a good point. Getting hyped in the play because I was like, wait, why are we continuing to go in? Crowning going to slowly whittle away at the first turret for LR. And gold, you can see at the top of your screen, is settled even after double mid breaks.
LR, they bleed a little bit for this play. They do. They lose the mid 2 towers as well as a wave up top side. And again, gets the far DOS. This was optimistic, I feel like. Playing with the TP of Omen coming in a little bit late, I think DOS underestimated how much time it would take. And then Omen gives them a cross-map play by being here as well. It's an overload from LR to look for a play and to get the tower afterwards. But I feel like off the back here, I mean, it's just Velia now, right?
It is.
He's 4-0-0. He has all the gold, 2 items at this Dragon fight. Can he carry at this team fight now?
Well, we've had a lot of questions of him in the last best of 5. We're watching this team as Nemesis going to take a turret while Dragon is started by BKR. Velia had a lot asked of him, but they're not going to commit to it. Third Dragon is given over to BKR, but top turret is opened up. A gold lead for Los Ratones, and after all the chaos as well, they're looking for a little bit more to take away in the jungle. In fact, trying to initiate for the inner top too.
Yeah, they're pushing in mid and then heading up top side to threaten the tower with their 2 grubs. They cross-mapped off of the Dragon rather than contesting because they already have the first 2. They don't need to contest the third if they don't want to, and they can play for more gold. Play for future item spikes and scaling on Nemesis, maybe get him to 2 items as well.
We need to look at bot because Baus is in no man's land, but he's even further than that. He's been caught out, and Rylak on top of him. Hextech Ultimatum going to be buffered, but Baus, what a classic. He's going to die for the 3rd time, opening up bot with it as well.
Yeah, it's a disaster, really. I mean, maybe Nemesis can make it there in time and defend the tower. Of course, he can. It is quite high HP here, but at the end of the day, the death doesn't really mean that much. He dies, he gives over gold.
So not a bad death.
Yeah.
Not a good death, not a bad death. What is it? It's a neutral death.
It's a neutral death. I mean, let's say that.
Oh, right. Oh, my God. By the way, did you just watch Crowdy's Q hit Bushi?
No, I didn't.
His health was full.
Was it a long grenade?
His health was full.
Ooh.
So that's...
was that 400 damage? 500 damage? That's a lot.
Let's call that. Let's call it 400. So there is a lot of that flying around right now. 2 items for Nemesis, by the way. We're going to get more damage from him. And he's going for Cosmic I was going to say Cosmic Insight. What's wrong with me? Cosmic Drive. Yeah. Cosmic Insight. Who am I?
Yeah. A lot of CDR, a lot of mobility.
Omon should have a second item as well.
Yeah.
This turret is going down.
Omon has been funneled a lot of gold.
He has, but I mean, he's the star carrier of this team. He's the guy we hyped up for today. We talked about Omon versus Nemesis. If you missed the opening show, mid v mid was so important because of the name of Nemesis, the performance he's had in EMEA Masters. But Omon can be a bit of a psychopath as well, but in a good way, guys, in a good way. Don't take that out of context. But here in this game on Azir, it's been a little bit stale outside of some of the one of the walls.
So I think BKR looking forward into this mid game. I think they could play decide a little bit more with the Camille setup. That's what I like to see. I keep coming back to that because it's just so easy. You call over your jungler, your support, your CC.
We saw it against Balth before. Is blue buff stolen?
Yeah, blue buff stolen away. I mean, it looks like no one's going to pick up the second one for the side of LR. That was a lot of damage. Sorry, I got stun locked.
I mean, yeah,
because the blue buff got evaporated.
But you were saying, like, again, we saw it against Balth. The lockdown is really nice as Velia's going to show us what he can do against an 80 carry. Bushi flashed away, Scatterwing out of range, the curtain call, chains dodge. This guy's Neo from the Matrix. Bushi gets out, if only just, but man, he had to see the bullets on that to get out.
Bushi in the previous series as well, so consistent. I feel like in a team that's always kind of plays like a mess, in a good way sometimes as well, Bushi is always consistent. He never messes up, and now, however, it
opened up for something, so it did mean a lot for Lost Ratones.
Yeah.
Opening up for Arakan. Here comes DOS, walking in. Ever so slowly, though. The zone control hurts, and Nemesis has enough mana to play with. Reckless gets in his way. Arakan drops. Rylak on the outskirts, another good scat of the week, a deadly flourish. Crowny's low on mana though, as Rylak cannot get the stun down. The Maw will not reach. Nemesis healed out of the way, Reckless being a good brother. Solar Flare causes the flash. Jugenda looking for an angle as well, but they will not find it.
BKR, they just can't find a way in. I think Reckless did such a good job, as well as Nemesis, stopping DOS from walking in there. Every single time DOS wanted to walk into the Atacon to maybe find an engage, he was taking so much poke from the Syndra. So I think that was really the problem there. It was a good call from Lost Ratones and just a delayed reaction because Bushi got chunked in the mid lane.
You know what I like about Reckless? A lot of the time watching some of these fights is like, he always plays zone control, and you know, you see a lot of like mid-tier teams, or you see a lot of like ARL teams where the support tries to hit objective and do 50 damage, 60 damage.
Yeah,
and you're like, bro, you need the zone control. You need to do something because you're not doing any damage to the objective.
Yeah, I think Reckless, it sounds insulty, but it's not. He's a good human ward sometimes, right?
He
marks the Tribush, refuses to let them in without taking a bunch of damage, and sets up Syndra's spells. Yeah, and it's a mark of a really good support.
Dude, human ward is a compliment for a support, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like, well, at least I think it is. I mean, you got the master playing support. Would you take that as a compliment?
Yeah, I'd suppose so. You know, that role is actually a lot harder than people say.
Is it now?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just that Renekton OTP mechanics don't convert to support very well. But I found that quite difficult to do.
I don't think your Nautilus gameplay and Renekton line up at all. I can see that there is no resemblance there at all. Yeah. All in. Omon has found Baus, and Baus is going to ulti him, but Omon still has an ulti of his own. Separates and now has the range with lethal tempo. Baus flashes almost. The fact that it was close has to give a testament to Baus. But Omon wins it in the end.
Yeah, the Sundered Sky proc I don't think was quite there. The cooldown wasn't there for the heal, and the Q flash doesn't quite finish off Omon, but Omon finds the play in the side lane. Tabis aren't going to do that much versus an Azir, and that's a really important kill in the side lane. Punishing Baus, farming a bunch of gold. Now, can they convert that into a dragon here?
If they do it quick, 20 seconds. 20 seconds on Baus with the teleport and no ulti when he comes back up. Although,
that's a bad death.
Hold on to that, but it is a bad death, you're right. Yeah, 2 dragons for 2 dragons and a small gold lead. I mean, BK this is an opening game that, again, has a lot of scaling elements in their solo lanes that are getting past the 25-minute mark.
Yeah. Invade onto Velia here.
Yoink.
Yoink. There it is for Rylak. Nice. Managed to find it. I mean, the best part about this is it's actually, no, it's not quite a global red. That'll be in 2 minutes' time. But still, very, very important. Sugenda's going to be able to hit the tower as well here. And now it's a question of, can they match BKR? Can they defend the cross map up top side? Reckless is going to look for it.
And Omon has no ulti available. He's going to have to run his life as Crowny's waiting for the 4th shot, opens up the curtain call, the flash and the blast cone, but behind his team he stands. DOS blocks him. Crowny got to look for something else in terms of gold and trying to get more of these minions in top turret, but BKR not punished for their mid laner, having nothing.
Yeah, it's a nice punish onto the flash at the very least.
I guess,
getting Omon's flash and then punishing the shift up towards top to defend the cross map with Reckless. They're calling that, it looks like, at least. It's a nice play.
Okay, so I'll take it back and I'll apologize and say, you know what, that is a punish indeed. But I saw no ult, and I saw an opportunity. Opportunity that doesn't get more than the flash that you mentioned. We'll look top again because came off the back of Bounce just getting lethal tempoed down to Buggery.
Yeah, I mean, you'd expect Vi maybe to potentially win this. At this point, 2 items. He is contending with a similar amount of items as the Azir, but I don't think the Sundered Sky proc comes back up. He only gets 1, and the Q flash doesn't quite finish off. The damage isn't there.
How do you like Black Cleaver as a second item here? Because I know Black Cleaver is a big problem of why you don't play Renekton anymore.
I mean,
is it?
That's a whole other topic.
I mean, that
with how
15 AD,
how bruiser items give 40 AD, and it makes me sad.
Yeah,
but no, Black Cleaver is a fine item. It's a great bruiser item. I think this is a really, really solid core for the Vi here. And on this threshold, he could look for the 1v1s for sure versus, for example, the Camille. The only worry, again, is potentially the 1 versus 2.
Yeah, okay. I had to ask because, again, he's hit that threshold and 2 items really along the borders. Baus.
Ooh.
How caught out is he?
Yeah, I'm always looking in the minimap and looking at Viego potentially hovering the sideline, and he was, but it looks like Riley's not going to look for the sideline play with Shigenda. That's always a threat. Baus has to be really on it here.
Yeah.
That Pinkwood's doing work.
Bushi the same. You can see, like, Bushi and Baus in this game are kind of similar getting bullied. Velya's always hovering around this mid-Vara, seeing if he overextends. And as you said, Rylak is always moving down to see if he can get something with Shigenda and isolate Baus yet again. That Baron spawned you saw on your bottom right of your screen. And BKR do have a bit of vision priority right now. LR are getting gapped out a little bit in terms of this entrance.
Yeah, I think the threat right now is a startup of the Nash from the Azir after Azir pushes out topside. And if BKR manage to hold control around this whole area, they could rush down Nash very viably, right? Azir does a bunch of DPS to objectives, and that is the threat. LR, though, they're making sure to control the area. Reckless. And walk through and potentially fish for wards, placing a bunch in the backline. You can see maybe that's a TP flank ward as well up in the tri-bush.
Really, really true. Baus has it up and available. What's Nemesis at? He's at 16. All his splinters are done, by the way, so he gets the amplification of ability power, and it's always nice with the Blackfire torches. Yeah, he's got his teleport up as well. On the other side, same can be said, solo laners of BKR. The LFL first seed, up 1,000 gold, and it's been a really tense opening game. Picks for picks, not leading to the explosion at opening of a game, but now with that Baron you talked about, third Dragon, it seems to be the next step up as we're just getting gold for third items, it seems, before we explore that next objective. It's not going to mean much onto DOS. Nemesis does have good damage, though, and he's also fishing for 16 gold as he finds it.
Yeah, I think that the scary thing for Bushi is constantly walking up off the mid-wave and potentially getting caught by a Jin'll opening up and then follow-up CC as well. That's what Bushi's been really, really navigating this entire game.
Ooh, Granny might have... Is Granny going for IE third? What would you do here?
I would go IE for third as well.
He's backing now. Now, it could just peek his dragons up in a minute, but it could be he's been sitting on the gold. No, only a pickaxe. What other items you see in the Aragon? What do you...
I mean, it's expensive. He's an incredibly expensive item, so you're not going to have it before the third dragon.
What core items are you seeing on your board right now in front of me?
Yep, I'd see Muramana almost stacked up for Varus is going to be incredibly influential.
Yep.
Void Staff, not quite completed for the Azir, could be important, although there's not much magic resist on the other side. Other than that, the tier 3 boots is what I'm looking at next.
I see Rabadons for Nemesis as well, by the way. That was just picked up, so... Yeah, while you're talking there, that's a big item, as you said.
I'm worried for the first target that gets CC'd by Los Ratones and takes that Syndra. That's going to be a bit spooky.
I agree.
But that's really how they want to play the team fights, right? Ult someone with the Vi, find an engage, and then press R with Syndra, and then take the space after this pick onto the first initial target.
The B1 pick, the pick that against Nemesis can't be given over. It's, again, one of his career successful. It's one that we fear. So many good options at the time, and walking into this choke right now, as you said, gets dangerous. Rylak is the one to do it first, as Reckless helps clear, making this vision darker, as DOS is now picking another angle.
Yeah, mid-prior for BKR right here. DOS is holding Banana Bush, and Banana Bush is going to become incredibly important for both of these teams with their snap engages.
With a good
walking
dodge.
Up and face-checking could be problematic.
Scatter the Weak was narrowly avoided. Dragon going to be started off, the poke doesn't land. Base is just going to be fake. Scatter the Weak again, a little bit short. Baus is going to face check into Shigenda. Might be caught out. Hextech Ultimatum used at the back of the pit while Dragon is ignored. Instead, they'll find the kill. They want Shigenda, but he's over the side. Scatter the Weak, though, was massive. Was it a game breaker, though? As Vale looks for his escape. Heartbreaker and the War Misses, and Reckless finds them all. Cranny's got a fall shot. Save for the Viego. A triple in the back pocket. And what a miss to cause the heartfelt game loss.
Velia dashes in there, finds a pick, and then speeds out with the move speed from the Invis and the ultimate. They just don't They underestimate how fast Velya's going to be to get out. They think they can collapse. Omon flashes forward to try and shuffle and push him in, but they don't quite get it, and Velya gets out.
And, you know, this might not be the game lost. I say that with emphasis on the fact that Omon, if he hits that ult, could be a very different story for the fight. They get third Dragon, and BKR might even be looking at the Baron themselves here. That miss, that narrow miss, has led to Los Ratones finding an insane engage, a 3K gold lead. Baron, and probably a bit of a snowball to lead them to 5, 6K if this all goes right.
And it's also a massive scatter the week off the back. You see Shigenda is playing to secure the Dragon and just mark the flank of Baus here to make sure that there's no team fight. But watch the scatter the week. It's really, really good onto 3 people, I believe. 4 even. A 4-man scatter the week. Velya, watch him. Look how fast he is running out to the pit.
It's opportunity.
He's just gone. Right, yeah, the reset onto opportunity. They look like they can get the shuffle, but Omon, his flash doesn't quite connect. And Velya, it's a perfect display of how much space a Kha'Zix can create with the invisibility.
And Reckless is on it like that. That flash engage was so clean. You know, again, he's reliant. When he sees the angle, he takes it, and Cranny gets to clean up the rest. About a 4K gold lead with mid opening up. Turret number 3 for Los Ratones. This jungle should go with it as well. BKR have to be careful where they step up. Los Ratones have, again, got so much pick potential. When the numbers are down, when they're isolated, that's when they can snap. Again, with the Syndra, who, last fight we talked about the Ratones. Also has a blighting jewel to go on top of that as well. It's going to help open up mid-turret.
So Los Ratones' plan here is going to be, let's take the tier 2s. This Baron isn't going to help us siege the Nexus. That's just not how the game works. They're going to try and get all the tier 2 gold and hopefully contest the third dragon for themselves. This is going to be a potentially 7 dragon game.
Yeah.
But
rare,
BKR, yeah, it is rare. BKR, they're not necessarily out of it, right? They still have 3 dragons, 1 slip-up from Los Ratones, and they get Soul, and the entire game could turn around.
So I feel like it depends on the siege with Baron, right? Scatter the week again. Doss corner down. 4 shot onto the turret. Chains of Corruption land, but Reckless is going to ulti. Here's a curtain call. Have Los Ratones gone too deep is the question people ask, but no. Another scatter the week. Nemesis champion gets an execute, and Syndra cannot be given over. Cannot be taken lightly. As again, the scout of the week layers down, and BKR hit with the orbs of deception, of deceit, of powerful ruse that Nemesis has walked into the base with.
BKR, they contest the tier 2. They were just trying to play slowly to defend. Maybe force Los Ratones to use some tools so they can't siege tier 3.
They're not trying to end. They're not trying to end, are they? Scout of the week, again, always a tool to think about. Shigenda didn't think too hard about it. He walks in and he might just be dead meat again and execute because there's no ulti, but 5 seconds. Nemesis was waiting for that timer to get another.
And that feels like the backbreaker. Right there. Breaking over the base there on a first Nash siege is not normal. It's all because BKR overextend, trying to defend these tier 2s a little bit too hard, and LR capitalize.
It's in these high-pressure moments. You know, it happened last time around. It was so close getting through. You talked about it on Desk, right? Super massive, the 5-game series. But then we got to semis. We got to finals, and Los Ratones really switched on, got to that extra gear. It's only game 1. And as you said, BKR, you know, if this ends in a win to Los Ratones, have to go back to the drawing board. They've shown a lot of prowess and a lot of big moments coming through from jungle, from mid in this game as Reckless. He's going to Hex Flash. He's going to be Hex Deck Ultimatum. He's popping away, so Shigenda's out. Chains of Corruption also used. Ulti popped out. Deadly Flash trying to zone Reckless. Might just be dying here, but look, the jungler hit by Baus. He's going to Unbreakable, Unstoppable it. He gets out with a flash as well. Rylak is safe and free. Reckless got caught, and that's an opportunity the Shigenda wants to capitalize on, but onto Nemesis Solar Flare, flashed away from Scatter the Week in return. BKR, they sought something, they found something, but Doss has to be blocked now. A curtain call almost connecting as Baus wants an angle. They want to keep fighting this.
I mean, it's a question. Can Los Ratones play without their wards? Face checking into this team is incredibly difficult. BKR, they're looking to chase Baus. I think this should be Soul towards BKR.
He's got an Overlord's Bloodmail, by the way. He's going to take a while to die, but also the cooldowns at this point in the game at level 18, they'll chase him forever. Dragon will be given over for the cost of Baus. This is the point where I'd say good death, but...
I think they're kind of spaghettiing it a little bit here.
I mean, Omon just took a heavy chunk. There's lethal tempo, an ulti. Doss is now here. It's a bit spaghetti.
How did Alistair, the person with all the wards, how did Reckless die into them getting Dragon? Because Baus is
being chased forever. When when you just
I just can't comprehend
And now
it.
Shigenda in trouble. Velya's ulted. He wants to take this 1v1.
Yeah, he
and
wins
Brandon,
this.
he'll win this easily. A leap, an ulti, and a bit of help from Bushi is needed. Chains of Corruption now, never mind. Doesn't win it when there's that many people. Lost Ratones need to calm down. They are throwing a bit too much into the water.
I'm still baffled by that sequence. I don't know how you lose your support, all your wards, your ability to face check, and then you secure Dragon, because the Baus runs into your base and you're scared.
And then Velya tries for a 1v1 after everyone's reset and then dies from that.
Yeah.
So that was part of it.
It's an interesting past 2 minutes. I mean, that's really, really good for Lost Ratones, securing Soul Point and denying the Soul when it felt like BKR overextended potentially mid lane.
But they also just threw away 4k gold almost, so it's a good sequence, but you're going to give me the but to why it's so good for BKR. It's got to be good for BKR after the point this game suddenly became in there.
I mean, this only secure a kill onto Alistair. I think now it's going to come down to the final team fight in 3 minutes' time. There's going to be a whole Dragon sequence. Azir will one-shot the Nash at this point, right? It will go down in 20 seconds, I believe, with this team comp, at most.
True.
So, LR, they got to be on it. You can see Reckless being a human ward right here.
Now, I'm going to note, Crownie no flash, Nemesis no flash. Important that the carries that have no mobility have nothing to get away. Spacing going to be everything, Aragon, and you know, Oman as well has his flash, has his ulti. This is where the Azir road was built in moments like this.
I mean, BKR, they have time, right? They have super minions pushing into their base, but it's a while away. They've got a lot of time before that wave eventually gets to their base and a backdoor is threatened. So now you can see LR trying to enter, but DOS is holding the banana bush. Face checking that is scary for LR.
And there's no pressure on the bottom side of the map. Crucially, that wave not pushing in. So BKR, as you said, that time participation is there as Velya over the side. Curtain Call going to be used. Reckless gets them off the side. Oman's ulti's only a one-man, but Baus is the target. A Curtain Call, meanwhile, Reckless and Velya are taking on the world. Bushi going to be first to go. Shigena going to go. Baron as well, resetting, while Brownie is picking them up one by one in the Wild West. This is how you play the finisher, the sequence. It'll be all right in the end because Lost Ratones pick apart the pieces.
BKR, they start up the Nash. That Syndra ultimate did so much damage at the back end of that fight. I think Baus went a little bit too deep. Maybe, you know what, the space was actually good.
Good death, who cares?
Good death. And they find the win here.
Somehow, some way, a little bit of throwing in the past 5 minutes, but they finished what they started. The NLC's #1 seed, the defending champions, are on the board in the semi-finals first. I tell you what, 4 more of those, I'll be happy.
I'm down.
Stress from the coaches,
I'm so down.
we're probably stuck. But